Like in marriage, I've never seen anybody 100% wrong. I've never seen anybody 100% right. It's as simple as that.
Now, going back to marriage, do you think that your marriages maybe fell apart because somewhere deep inside you felt something was missing?
Nah, never thought that. Never thought that.
You seem
Like
very...
I said, I never had a problem being a guy. I had an experience when I was 11 and 12 years old. I was put into forced feminization by an older woman. But hell, that was a lot of fun. I mean, between the sex and the whippings and the cross-dressing and anything you could think of, we did. I enjoyed the hell out of it.
We talked about religion off camera, but what is your faith now?
I'm Jewish.
Jewish. And I'm not really very familiar. Like a Judeo-Christian, I took theology for 2 years, but it was mixed with a bunch of religions. And how does your faith, did your faith have any effect on your decision now? Because I know that for more Orthodox Jews, it's back to, Latavius, was it 22?
Well, Orthodox Jews, they're nuttier than, I'll give you an example. Dan was in the hospital with a blood problem. One of his doctors came in with a beard, what we call the payas, Orthodox Jew. And he's talking to Dan while he's in the bed. And I asked him a question, and Hirsch looked at me like, and went back to talking to Dan.
So it just totally blew you off?
You know why? I'm a woman.
Just because of that?
I'm a woman. Orthodox Jews. A woman is good for one thing. Have the children and raise the children and cook the meals. Other than that, that's it. So, I mean, I got insulted. Hey, this is my husband we're talking about. I want to know too. He and I had an understanding. And ever since then, we've been fine. But the Orthodox people are crazy. I mean, they're nuttier than fruitcakes. Look at the old Italians. Same way. Women in the background. Take a look at pictures taken 100 years ago, 80 years ago. The men are always sitting. The women are standing.
Now, in the books I read, you're not gay, but now you would be kind of gay now, so you would be a lesbian
Carlos,
in a way.
I don't know what the hell I am.
Okay, so you didn't believe in labels, in a way.
Well, here's the thing. When I was butch, I was with women. When I became Gloria, I was with women. I guess I was gay. Now, I am with a woman here and here, but I'm with a man. He looks as manly as you do. He looks manlier than you do because he's got all this hair on his body. So what the hell am I?
You're just somebody who falls in love.
Well, I don't know.
Now, I mean, it's a brave decision. You've gone through all this and so late in your life as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, did anybody try to talk you out of it, or was there like any person who was just like, "Hey, Butch, wake up! Like, this is ridiculous what you're doing."
No.
You wouldn't have listened anyway.
I wouldn't have listened. Oh, I would have listened. I would have given. I always will give somebody the respect of listening. But I knew what I wanted to do.
Well, I guess, not to take up too much of your time, I'll ask...
Don't worry about it.
Oh, well, your story is really interesting. I mean, you've gone through so many things in life. What year were you born?
1935.
1935.
Oh, I'm Aquarius.
Aquarius?
Yeah.
And, I'm sure, like, back then, especially in that time, it was such a man society. And, you definitely...
It still is.
Oh, of course. You live through all this period of time, and you've gone through, all these emotional ups and downs. Do you feel that now that you're Gloria, that you kind of look back at that time and it's a different person completely? Like, maybe like this is like a new life for you? Like, almost like you were born again, so to speak.
Let me explain. Let me say this to you. Even today, sometimes, I'll look in the mirror and see myself, and I have to shake my head. how can somebody that used to be who you were be this person now? And I have to shake my head. I mean, I was a fighter, I was a screamer, I was a... Does that answer the question?
Oh yes. There's so much things. I know that you're very involved in politics now, and you know the Clintons.
Yeah.
And you go out day to day life. Is it there any moments that there's some times where you just want to like scream at someone who might treat you differently or doesn't get the point, or how do you handle it, so to speak?
If somebody were to have
A problem.
If somebody were to have given me a problem, depending on the problem, in answer to your question, even taking a chance of losing knees, I could still knock you in the face now as I did then. I've still got the temper, but of course I got a little older. The
Calmer.
hormones brought me down a little bit, but I'm still basically that butch inside. But I've never had to do this. I will still maybe holler at somebody in the car if they do something stupid. But if somebody yells at me, I've got a beautiful way of getting, like if I pull out in front of you and you want to start raising hell, I will just look at you and go, give you a kiss. It'll just blow your mind.
Now, you're a beautiful woman, and like I said, I can't imagine anybody who wouldn't have known your story to even, for a second think. So, do you think you have it easier because of this?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I have tried to teach people, what's the word, deportment. I've tried to teach deportment to a lot of friends of mine, so their life would be easier. If you want to be, if you're a cat and you want to be a dog, learn how to bow wow. So a lot of them have a very hard time because, number one, they're tall, they're big, which thank God I'm not. They're heavy, which they can lose weight, but if you want to be a woman, present yourself as a woman. Don't sit like this, don't get up like this, don't sit like this. I mean, that answer the question?
Mm-hmm.
So I have had no problem. Dan and I have gone into some of the raunchiest places in Texas and what have you. We were in a bar one time in California, in Santa Rosa. I had two guys that wanted to dance with me. Well, I ended up dancing with one of them, but it blows my mind. It really does.
I think it's amazing.
You know who Dan is, by the way, right?
Your husband.
Yeah.
Are you guys married?
Actually, we're not married, but we could. The state of Florida says no marriage of the same sex. They have the Buckeye State, which is Ohio, and they have the Hoosier State, which is Indiana, and they have the this state and that state. We're the dumbass state. We're the most backward state in the country.
No.
I don't necessarily believe in gay marriage. It doesn't make too much sense to me when I see two guys kissing each other. Two women, that's a different story. I didn't say I'm right. I'm a double-edged sword. But we legally can get married because, number one, he was born a female. I was born a male. But now I'm legally a female and he is legally a male. So we can get married.
Are you thinking about getting married?
We are thinking about it, but if we do, I will lose a lot of things that I'm getting.
Okay.
That's why a lot of people are not getting married today.
Some people do get married just because of
yeah, right.
And Dan is the one who's that tape is 51 minutes sitting just interviewing. You have that, remember?
Yeah. So, he taped it. Okay.
I taped it.
Oh, you taped?
And I can send it to you.
Oh, yeah.
It's right on my laptop.
Okay, perfect.
Now,
I can put it on that.
I brought all of the pictures and all of the newspaper articles. I just put everything together and brought them down. So-
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take them home and scan them, and then I'll
Okay.
of course bring them back.
And if you want to have another get together, no problem.
No, because I want to get this trailer. I mean, if you want to
Okay.
film a movie, it's a different story. But a trailer is 2 minutes, just because,
Right.
and I want to get this up on the website. So I mean,
The reason also I asked for the pictures was because I know you want to put more pictures and information on the website, and I figured I might as well scan everything
Yeah.
and have it ready to go. So
that's fine, whatever
be
you
easier.
think, and you see the real thing.
I
This is
have
the one I was
one-
telling George Zucker about.
Okay.
He was the one.
Carlos, I have one problem,
Yes.
being a woman.
What is it?
Where do I keep my holster and my gun?
Leg.
And that's a problem. On the leg, it's too much trouble to get to.
How about the back? Some people still keep it.
It's easier to do that when you're a guy. You can put it in your pants, but
Your
that's
purse?
my biggest problem. No, it's too hard to get to.
How did you get used to having a purse?
How did I get used to this?
Oh, I guess that would be my.
If you want something bad enough, you do it.
Mhm.
Give me an example. Little girls, when they're little girls, know how to smile.
Excuse me, should you be taping this, or is this something you wanted to tape or no?
Yeah, I'm taping it.
Oh, you are taping.
Oh, it is.
Oh yeah, I'm taping this whole thing.
Oh.
Here's an example. Little girls seem to be born knowing how to smile. Did you smile as a little kid?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Oh, bullshit.
No, I do. I flirt with
Boys
everyone.
don't smile. Well,
I do.
Maybe you
I
had-
flirt with guys, girls. I get jobs like you wouldn't believe by
maybe
flirting.
something was in you, or maybe you wanted to be a little girl.
I
Think so?
come from a very liberal family.
But no.
No, honestly, it's funny how you say this because I understand that people growing up in different times. I was very blessed to come from such a liberal family that almost anything I did was acceptable. I never had any rules or regulations.
Right.
That's why I find it fascinating that you came from such an old school, I'll say mentality, so to
Well,
speak.
not really.
No?
My parents were very, very
Open,
modern. Oh,
but for the 50s, I imagine that it must have still been very conservative, so to speak.
well, yeah. But anyway, getting back to this smile. Boys don't smile. Girls smile. So as a woman, I want to be able to smile. So I'll never forget, I went into my bedroom, even got my cats out, because I was embarrassed. And I sat in front of the mirror and I went, learned how to smile. And now I have a good smile. But if you want to do something hard enough, bad enough,
You'll get it
you
done.
get it done. That's so an answer. Get used to a purse, get used to high heels.
How old were you when you came to the conclusion that you wanted to be a woman?
In 97, I was 35. I was 62 years old.
Who did you first tell?
I was going with this dominatrix, Joan. And Joan is a lesbian, and Joan's girlfriend was Diane. So we ended up going to Chicago for over the Christmas holidays. And at the hotel, I didn't know this, but they brought clothes for me and a wig and everything else. And 3 girls are going out. What 3 girls? There's 2 girls here and 1 guy here. 3 girls are going out. So we did go out. And I found that to be a lot of damn fun. Scary, but that was a lot of fun. So when we got back here to Miami, I said, I know there are transvestites all over the place. I guess that's what I am now, a transvestite. How do I get hold of these transvestites? So I had a buddy, Bob Baus. He's always on the computer. I said, Bob, get on the computer and find out if there are any groups, da-da-da-da-da-da. He said, why? I said, Bob, I had an occasion where I was dressing in women's clothes, and I like it. Make a long story short, then that's how I got into this. What was your original question? I have a bad habit of going way off on it.
No, it's okay. My original question was, who was the first person you got told?
Bob Bouse. Then I went to this group. That was another story. This group is a group where people go who are transvestites, cross-dressers, or whatever. And I'll never forget, I called the number and I told them who I was, and they interview you first before they let you in. And I'll never forget, when I got to the meeting, I'm in the parking lot, and I'm saying, gee, how can I walk in there and say, hi, my name is so-and-so, and I like to dress in women's clothes. You have a Band-Aid or something? I just hit myself with my nail. Wait, I've got a Kleenex. I've got this. So it took me a hell of a long time to get up the nerve, and that's something that I always have, is nerve, to walk in there. But once I got in there, again, we're sitting around in a group. Hi, my name is so-and-so, and I like to, I finally got it out, put on women's clothing. I found that extremely embarrassing. So that's how that came about.
I mean, it's brave. I don't know if I'd ever go to any kind of group or anything and share.
But one thing led to another.
Now, just to follow up, I kind of going to go back a little bit back to the past. Now, there's so many points that I look at, that you as Bush, since I'm not really familiar with Bush too much. Butch. I always call him Bush, like George Bush in my head.
Don't call me George Bush. Jesus.
Well, did you? You were such a man's man. You were a ladies' man. I'm sure. What did you drink? Did you do any drugs, smoke, or?
Oh yeah, I did my share of coke.
And all this time you were going there was no cross-dressing going on back then, or?
I was cross-dressing when I was 11 and 12. Then when I left Shirley, my second wife, we were apart for 22 months. In fact, the second dumbest thing I ever did was go back to her. The first dumbest thing was to marry her in the first place. But anyway, for 22 months I had my own apartment, and a friend of mine, Mary Ann, and I got into the same thing that I did with Anita when I was a kid. So yes, I did a little bit of cross-dressing, but everything was on the inside of the house. But there was never any idea about going full-time with this.
So the first time you stepped out as a woman was with your friends?
Actually, it was in Chicago. This was in 96. 96 into 97. Yeah. That was the very first time. And then the second time going out was when I went to that group, that panel, when I said my name is Gloria Stein. Because that first time I went to that meeting, I went as Butch. But then, after that meeting, then I found out there was a panel. It was a panel where we go in front of, like, University of Miami students, St. Thomas, and we talk about this.
My last question is going to be a very simple one. If you had to do it all over again, would you have decided to have this procedure earlier?
About 80 years ago.
Okay. Well, thank you for your time. It was very interesting, and I've actually got a lot of good sound bites I'm sure I can use for things. It's much easier now. Like I said, originally I thought it's going something else, but I mean, this definitely does help. And I know you're probably very busy, so thank you for coming out.
I have time.
Well, thanks. I mean, that definitely helped out a lot, actually. Now, how would you say your relationship is? There's a two-part question. How it is today than how, let's say, it was when you were 20. Do you feel that, you definitely are much closer now? And so to speak, I mean, is it easier to bond with Gloria than it was with Butch? And is it because she's a man? She was a man at one time, and now she's a woman. As a woman, you're able to open up more, or do you feel just because you've become more mature through the age and you've let go of things that were kind of holding you back from having a more close, serious relationship?
It's a very clear answer. As Butch, I couldn't stand her. I couldn't care if she lived or died. I resented her. I resented him. I didn't like him. And everybody knows, I had, feelings of abandonment. And as a woman, as Gloria, it's a whole different world. Gloria, when I see this woman, I see only one person, my Aunt Gloria. It's completely a 180. I'm able to confide in her, I'm able to talk to her, I'm able to get information about my past that I never knew. Because, I used to medicate myself for 35 years. I don't remember too much about, especially my childhood. So whatever I didn't know, which was everything, Gloria was able to fill me in. But yeah, I'm very close with her. I can ask her any question. Do we argue? No. Do we disagree? Yes. Just natural family issues. But yeah, the whole relationship, which was miles apart, as Butch, now is a close knit, and you can't get much closer between aunt and nephew. Does that answer your question?
Yes. Now, this for you, Gloria. Now, do you feel different now as a woman to your nephew than you had as a man? Do you feel that it's easier because you're a woman now and you've, so to speak, let go of a lot of, man stuff, of not showing feelings, of not smiling, that it's easier for you to kind of close the gap that you had, with your nephew? Now you have more of an emotional, balanced relationship as opposed to before.
I don't think there's that much of a difference between my being Butch and my being Gloria in dealing and talking and spending time with Steven. The only difference is when I spent time with him, then it was as a young boy, because I never spent that much time with him as an adult, because he was always off doing his thing, whatever his thing was.
When this goes back, how did you feel? I mean, here was a man who you thought had abandoned you and everything, and he comes in with your sister, and they tell you that you have a drug problem, and as almost any drug addict out there does not want to accept it or anything. I mean, did you feel this resentment and hate that how dare you come into my life now? Or were you sort of in a way, kind of relieved because you had felt abandonment, and now this is a man that you kind of held up as a father figure coming to rescue you in a time of need, even though you might not have totally accepted it at that point, but somewhere deep down inside it must have been a relief.
This is going back 23 years, so to the best of my memory, there wasn't any issue at all about resentment or abandonment. I was just plain angry and pissed off that my sister had to go out and get my uncle and bring my uncle back to my house to force me to go into treatment before I'd be Baker acted because I was a drug addict. So there wasn't any particular issue. There wasn't any issue of whether that because it was my uncle and my uncle wasn't part of my life. That wasn't it at all. It could have been you. It could have been a stranger. I just thought there was nothing wrong with me, being 6'2" and 110 pounds and didn't eat or bathe for 2 years, and I thought it was just normal. I just was resentful of the fact that I had to go in and get help, otherwise I was going to be Baker acted.
Now I see what you're talking about, okay.
It's just that simple. So was it anybody wouldn't have made a difference who it was. I wasn't bothering anybody, and I was really pissed off.
You didn't fight us though. You
No,
were in no
because
condition.
I didn't fight because I
You
knew.
were a limp noodle.
Yeah, because I was just really a messed up individual,
But
and
you were, baby.
and I got. I guess the only good thing out of it that happened prior was that they took me to Wolfie's, which is a deli on Miami Beach, and I got a full meal. And once I realized that my sister and my uncle were serious about Baker acting me, I I agreed, okay, all right, I'll go. But in my mind, I was only going into treatment just to gain weight. I figured I'd live in the kitchen. I'd spend all my free time in the kitchen eating and eating and eating, and then when I come back out, I'd be a part-time crackhead. You know, so I'd smoke crack on the weekends rather than smoke it 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. And of course, you know, things changed once I got sober. But no, I had no. It had no resentment one way or another, whether it was Butch or the Man in the Moon. Didn't make a difference. I just didn't think anything was wrong with me.
Did you ever thank him? Or did it wait till you became a her?
Well, I definitely didn't thank him. I don't recall thanking him at all until long after he became her.
Yeah.
Long after he became her. Because when I came out of treatment after 30 days, my whole world changed. I mean, I was able to feel, I was able to cry. I was an emotional basket case, and nothing changed with my feelings about Butch. I didn't thank him until he was a her many, many years later. Once I realized what they did for me, but that took many, many years.
Steven felt the same way about me even after he realized that I helped him